The other Duke freshman here, Khaman Maluach, 7'2" center, just absolute finishes everything around the rim and doesn't really take a lot of bad shots, which I appreciate. We reached that phase of the pre-draft cycle where now people are getting excited about the video of him hitting 4 threes in a row. And now he's Brook Lopez all of a sudden. And I would be shocked if he's ever, hitting more than a dozen threes in an NBA season. So I wouldn't bank on any of that. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about with him, Kevin, the block numbers are kind of low for a guy who's so huge.
Mm-hmm.
But when you watch them on the court, teams are literally scared shitless about taking the ball anywhere near the paint. So I don't know if there's a deeper way to look at that of what teams shot, as a percentage when he's on the floor versus actual blocks. But I would imagine there were a lot more long distance twos when he was out there versus, rim attempts and things like that.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a number out there that gets at that. I would be, if I were to dig into that, I would be looking for things like opponent shot distance with him on versus off. I'd be looking at, opponent shooting percentage, do their at rim attempts go way down, that kind of thing. On the other hand, so you mentioned the blocks being relatively low, and he was very slow, doesn't leap very well, and the leaping doesn't matter that much when you're 7'2", right? So all that's good. The other thing, though, is that NBA players often are perfectly willing to challenge a guy like this, especially when he's slow. The trick with Victor Wembanyama is the block radius is so vast because he's also agile, and that's not this guy.
No, he will be a drop coverage big only, and staying directly in front of one person at all times. And it's everything they've done to build out the rest of this Wizards group, I think, is with positional versatility and switchability in mind. And to me, taking a drop coverage center, at 6 just makes literally no sense. So I've seen a few Wizards fans recently maybe suggest him a little bit more, and there's been more rumblings. Teams are liking him in that range of the draft. He's one of the guys I would just be absolutely against taking this early for that reason. Where do you kind of grade him out, though, Kevin?
I mean, I've got him with a top 10 overall grade. I think I've got him 8th. He's insanely efficient, 75% on twos, made his free throws. Now, I do see some and also a terrific offensive rebounder, more than 5 per 40 minutes, which is excellent. Probably the highest number in the draft. Scanning down, that looks like the highest in the draft. So that's a good sign. Now, of course, not surprising for a guy who is purely a play finisher, is, basically no assists, also very few turnovers. He basically, from the numbers, it looks like he just caught it and dunked.
It's that is literally the extent of the offensive game, is let me drop it into the hoop.
Yeah. And that's a little more challenging to make that, because that makes him into basically the rim running center, but he's not fast and he's not agile. So I wouldn't want to pick him this high. I think that there will certainly be better players, higher, at least players that I have higher rated, available at that spot. I think that whoever picks him, if they have the right ecosystem around him, they'll probably be pretty happy with him. But I don't think the Wizards are the right home for him.
So that's a guy that's bread and butter on just shooting right around the rim and trying to make his name on defense, essentially.